We'll hop over to Visual Studio. And in fact, let me not go there first, sorry. The idea now is that, let's go take a look at the directory structure briefly here. So here is the ODUG directory that we created, and you can see that there's a number of folders that, I mean, this is the .NETNuke installation. This is not the source code that you install, okay? So the folders pretty much do what they say. Inside the desktop modules is where all the actual modules that get installed, sort of call them user modules, get installed. This is where their files go. So what we're going to do is create in here a directory. So now what we're doing is we're taking a source package for a module, an existing module. And this is what you might do if, let's say you're exploring one of the standard .NETNuke modules. You download it from the project site, and you want to install it and explore that module, look at how the source code was written. So you're going to do something very similar to this. So I'm going to create a folder here called, this is the name of my module, Wrox.suggestion. Now, when you're creating a custom module, you generally want to use some sort of a prefix, a unique prefix at the front. This is not the object qualifier we talked about earlier. It's similar to that, but different. All right? So I created a suggestion module, and he might create a suggestion module, and Will might create a suggestion module. And you know, what makes them different? Well, by name, they're exactly the same thing. So you want to put some sort of a prefix with your company name out there to make it unique. Okay? Then into that folder, I'm going to put all right. Well, I don't know exactly where I've got the module sources. I know where they're at. They're actually down here in my book folder. So I'm just going to go to the code directory. So the distribution. All right. So the source is what I'm actually going to use the source version of this here. And let me just take that. Oops, I guess what I got to do is zip up there. Okay. So I'm going to take that source and I'm going to extract it into that directory that I just created. Desktop modules. Okay. So let's go take a look at what I put out there. Okay. So what got put out there was a set of files that you can see that there's a, this is actually the database script that will create the database objects for this module. There's 4 user controls. There's an uninstall for the database, that's a script. Then there's 2 DLLs. All right, so what I'm going to do is take those 2 DLLs, and I'm going to, all right, so what I'm doing here, I could have gone to the host module definitions page and installed this source module, and everything would have gotten populated and set up properly. What I'm doing here is actually each of the steps manually, so that you see what the steps are that are done during a module installation, so that you're familiar with that, sort of the nuts and bolts of it. So I'm going to move those DLLs into the portal bin directory. Right, this is done by the installer, by the module installer. And then there's this DNN file. If we take a look at it, is the actual installation manifest that explains where everything goes. So in here, you know, this is the description information for the module, the friendly name, the folder name, all that kind of stuff. Then the module itself, you know, it's named Wrox.suggestion. There's a set of controls. We can see here that this is the main view control. This is the edit control. This is the module settings control. And then I have a second display module in this particular package. So these DLL files were listed in there, and the installer knows to take those and put them in the portal bin directory. These are just listed because they're part of the package. And then the only thing that's not listed here is the other zip file. And if we take a look inside of that, you'll see that there's actually the sources are inside here. So what I want to do is just unzip this here. And what we'll get then is the app local resources, the components, and images, projects, and a providers folder, okay? Plus the source code for the module itself. And then there's a solution file for 2005 and 2008. Like the solution files are different, so they're both in here. So we want to take a look at this thing in Visual Studio. Remember, one of the things I said on the slide is you have to edit the project file. And down near the bottom of here is the path to the project, and it's just a generic name .NET. So in this case, I have to say localhost ODUG. You have to do that in 2 places. Save it. I woke up this morning with a really scratchy throat, and I was like, oh my God. And it got better during the day, and it's starting to bother me again. All right, so now we're actually ready to open the thing. I'll have one a little bit later. Thank you, though. I appreciate that. Now, because I'm running on Vista, I actually have to run, to deal with ASP.NET projects, you have to run Visual Studio as administrator, if you're working with IIS. Okay? So I have to run Visual Studio as administrator, and then I have to open the solution file. I can't just double click on the solution file. It's one of the things that drives me nuts about Vista. One of the few. All right, so I'm going to open my solution and just desktop modules, suggestion, and here's my 2008 solution file. All right, and as it turns out, it wants to upgrade it, and there was really no way around this when I created the solution files. The problem is that the project files have to be compatible with 2005, and it's the project files that's converted here, not the solution itself. So the solution is sort of generic, but the project files themselves are unique between the 2 versions of Visual Studio. So you just have to go through this quickie conversion when you come up. So now we've got the project in Visual Studio, and let me just go in here to the, oh, all right, wait a minute. We're not ready to run it yet. I forgot a couple steps, sorry. So the other couple things we have to do is that we have to create the database objects, and we have to create the module definitions for the portals so that it knows, what user controls are for what. So what we'll do is take a look at this SQL Data Provider file, and you'll see that it's just a database script, a typical SQL Server type database script where it drops everything and then it creates tables and it adds indexes and constraints and things like that. You want to be sure to do a good job of setting this stuff up when you create your modules so you have a performing module. And then it'll create all the stored procedures that are used by the thing. So you'll notice, though, that everywhere through here are these 2 special tags, database owner, object qualifier, and curly braces. So if you want to run this in SQL Management Studio or some other SQL tool, you have to edit these things. You have to replace them with the values that should go in there, or just remove them in order to run it in the tool. Or, actually, the easy way of doing it is, as host, there's a SQL page, and in here I can drop in that file, and it'll take care of the object qualifier database owner, the tag substitution on my behalf. So if I just hop over here, copy that thing, paste it in here, run it as a script because there's a bunch of Go statements in there, and execute it. Okay? So everything else in .NET is red when it's bad, except this. So it's red when it's good in this case. Go figure, I don't know. So anyway, that created all the database objects on our behalf. So the last thing that we need to do is define the module definitions. And if you take a look at them, and I'll show you what they are in just a second, but you can use the install module. All right, this is what we would have used if I would want to just install that source package from scratch. Or I can create a new module from scratch when I have to type all this definition stuff in manually. And you typically have to do that the first time you create a module. Or if you're reusing a module, you just edit the existing one. Or I can import a module definition. Because I have that DNN manifest file, it contains all the information that's needed